porque onde mesmo você vai ter que ir
Okay, so before we are a historical landmark, before we are history, we are a functioning college first and foremost. In fact, these old hotel rooms are now freshman dorm buildings. And the dining hall we're going to go to at the very end of our tour is still our main and only dining hall on campus. But because we are a college first and foremost, we're going to start this next section off in a very college-esque way with a pop quiz. Does anyone know how long it took for this building to be built? I think I heard a couple, 2 years. That's pretty close. It took 18 months. So it started in December of 1885, officially finished in May of 1887.
Built the one across the street in 1 year.
In January of 1888. Now they waited until 1888 to open for mostly for the reason it was a seasons hotel. So you typically stay here from about Easter, about January to about Easter. Now, if you stay here that whole season, if you stay here one night, you pay the exact same amount. That was going to be $4,000 in their money. In today's money, that roughly translates to about $100,000. Again, that's for either the whole season or just the one night. You were paying for the whole season no matter what. It cost about $2.5 million to build this building. However, in today's money, I don't know the exact translation, only that it cost a whole lot. You did have an all-inclusive. It was all-inclusive, so your meal was included, as well as you had two main amenities of this building. We're quick to talk about those amenities, but you also have the amenities at the Alcazar Hotel. So you had free reign of that hotel if you were staying here. Now, if you stayed at that hotel, it was not this hotel was for high society. It was all about the Gilded Age, all about wealth. That hotel was a little bit more for the quote-unquote commoners. So if you stayed there, you were not allowed over here. Same deal with the Casa Monica. If you're staying at the Casa Monica, you were allowed over at the Alcazar, but not vice versa. In fact, they used to have a bridge connecting them. The bridge isn't there, but you can still see the indents. But you had the in-ground swimming pool over there, different kind of fitness type of areas over there. Well, in here, you had our two main amenities. So first, we have these two towers on either side here. These are our water towers, connected to aquifers in the ground. How we provided water throughout our buildings. We had hot and cold water from openings. So that water ran cold, and now that allowed for semi-private bathrooms, and they're now actually transferring the rooms to have private bathrooms for our students. Our second main amenity was done by a man named Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison and Co. was who established our electricity. We had electricity from opening, which was in fact 3 years before the White House.
Wow.
So it was really very much about high society in this time.
Money.
We were designed by two men, John
More
Career
money
and Thomas
than
Hastings.
White House has got.
John Career and Thomas Hastings, this was one of their first jobs right out of design school. And it was the first time they were working together. However, if their names sound familiar, they also did the New York Public Library. But this, again, like I said, was one of their first jobs together. They used terracotta. The design was mostly Spanish architecture. The material was mostly terracotta. The concrete they used was a pour-over technique, as well as the wood you're seeing is going to be mostly a New Jersey oak type of wood. There's about 400 rooms here. About 80% of them have fireplaces. The fireplaces are not working, but they're currently being taken out of the rooms to be restored.
Wow.
Now we're going to talk a little bit about the themes you're going to see in here. So we have three main themes, like I mentioned back in the rotunda. Our first theme is going to be a religious theme, so that's what we're going to focus on first. So again, we have cherub heads basically anywhere you look, you're going to see one.
Push me off.
Such as in our overarching windows, those are cherubs. Or we also have these gargoyles you're looking at. Those gargoyles were a sea type of creature, and they originally had light bulbs,
See how it got
red
gross?
light bulbs. Those light bulbs would turn on upon guest arrival, and that was said to ward off evil spirits. And then another religious thing we had is if you look to our fountain right there, that fountain, if you were in an airplane looking down, actually made a Celtic cross. So those are
Alright.
some of our religious themes here. However, we had two more themes. We had a nautical theme. So if you look to like here, you have a little frog, a little fish that kind of acted like a fountain back in the day. And then you have just seashells, different nautical themed ships, everything hidden throughout all the artwork and architecture of it. Then you also have our fountain, again, our centerpiece of our gardens here. You have fur turtles. The fur turtles represented the 4 seasons of the year. Then you have 12 frogs. The 12 frogs represented 2 things. The 12 months in a year as well as the 12 hours in a day. Now most of those frogs are in the same position, just hands in front of them. Now these hands are going to be very important because you have 2 frogs with their hands in different positions. You have 1 frog with their hand on their hip. That frog's going to represent our 12 a.m. versus 1 frog with their hand on their head, which is going to represent our 12 p.m. This is able to be used as a sundial, and that is why they did it that way.
Huh.
Now, in addition to that, our last theme is going to be a theme of lions. Now, if we've been in St. Augustine for a while, you've probably noticed a lot of lions throughout it.
Yeah.
In fact, we have a whole bridge called the Bridge of Lions. Well, that is going to go directly and relate directly to a man named Juan Ponce de Leon, or namesake of the former Hotel Ponce de Leon. So he was one of our explorers here in St. Augustine, and he was very influential in the city, if any of you've been to the Fountain of Youth. However, because of his influence, they wanted to pay ode to him with the lion. They picked lions because of his last name. Ponce de Leon translates to the pounce of the lion, and that's why you have so many lions.
Oh, I
So if
did
you look
not
at
know
the
that.
top of our fountain there, lion heads. One last thing I'm going to point out about this fountain goes with our theme of explorers because of Ponce de Leon. So if you were looking at this fountain, look at it at the right angle. You remember swords back in that day. They were very much like a fence, like you would see a fencing sword. That's what this represents. A sword being punctured into the ground, just like our conquistadors would do when they arrived. And that's
Oh,
what that
yeah.
is.
Okay. Let's see that.
That is all I have for you for this section. You're welcome to go take a closer look at our fountain. Take any pictures you want. I'll be standing over there for questions if you have any. And then we're going to go back into our rotunda and talk about that artwork and such.
Did you see that on the phone?
Yeah. Yeah. Right here.
There's one of the different hand motions. And then that one over there, that's hand straight up.